Welcome to round 6 of the third Wixoss Summer Ceremony, hosted by Carta Magica. We have, in our top 4 undefeated right now, we have our Deus Ex Machina versus Mono Blue Dream Team with Tamago Center, accompanied by Madoka and Umaru. So, opening out, we see the X go for 2XX. XX, however you pronounce it. Tomato. And passing for going first. Interested to see how this Mono Blue deck plays out. So we have Thrilling into Madoka Float. Madoka Float's going to be a discard 1. Sorry, discard 1 to draw 3, not discard 3 to draw 1. That's kind of dumb. Looks like a Saturn was discarded, so I can kind of already see this being a Cosmos-based deck in some degree. I am here for it. But this is only turn 1 for Tamago. We'll just have to see how this plays out in the end. Umaru looks like Umaru Float? Or it's drawn, it's a... Oh, sorry. Umaru Freeze. Freeze is going to... Basically just coming out for the force discard, not caring, not being able to really freeze anything. So Haket coming out. Looks like bottom, 1 to top, the rest to bottom. And playing a Snow Mew. Snow Mew utilizing the freeze strategy here to get rid of cards. So Snow Mew is going to pick one of the frozen thing. Basically, bottom deck one of the frozen cards. Haket is under the Hexex. Snow Mew swings in. Looks like a... I've Devil Stinger. There we go. Devil Stinger burst. Servant Guard. Snow Mew is going to return either one to bottom of deck. It doesn't matter which one, since they're basically the same. So the left XX is going to bottom of deck. Gonna grow to Deuce Recovery. Deuce Recovery. Is going to return a Baphomet and a Cargo Code Ride to hand. So we see Cargo to center, getting rid of the thrilling, returning back with a servant. Oof. Never really feels good to see a servant get charged away, but 'tis fine in a degree, since that is basically any color. Morax in the side. I've seen a couple Morax, but they don't really get to do their effects. But anyways, Morax on attack. As long as something was enter burned this turn, you can enter charge. Helps pay for some of what Deus Ex Machina wants to do in the end. So we see Wing Slash. Wing Slash getting rid of the Snow Mew in center. Xenocluster going to enter charge 3 servants in enter zone. That is quite unfortunate, unless I am seeing this wrong. No, that is 3 servants in enter zone. So that is going to be rough. Morax swinging in, enter charging since enter burn happened. Haket burst. Cargo, Bradamante, no life burst. X swing. Random drain. So it's going to be a discard and a freeze. So down and freeze the XX, just send a message out. Level 2 now for Tamago. Rough predicament here for the mono blue. Knowing that you have 3 servants in your enter zone, you already know you're going to be playing a little behind, not being able to have, knowing your opponent now knowing basically they have a really good chance you have no way to guard their Rig attacks. Bruno in center. And a Neon Tetra in the right, freezing the cargo code ride. Going to attacks here. Ket swings under. Bruno is going to swing over, either drawing or forcing the opponent to discard a card. Forcing the discard, emptying their hand, might be somewhat of a saving grace. Kentucky from Burst. So we see 5 life cloth remaining for X. 4 remaining for Tamago. Two servants and trash for Tamago. Again, unfortunate. Row to X3. We see a Baphomet in center. We do see a Baphomet in center, milling 3. Baphomet's going to remain 7k, because let's face it, there's already more. You already know there's more than 5 cards in trash. Looks like we see trigger of... Can't tell because it's off screen, but going to assume that is trigger of victory targeting Kentucky. What is this burst? A thrilling. So no burst whatsoever. Kentucky, we see the pay for Assassin. Soul being attached to Baphomet. Looks like X1, so Baphomet now, whenever it attacks, will either draw 1 or enter charge 1. Still 1 card in hand remaining for X. Considering it hasn't been slammed down in the open slot to remove a body, it's either a spell or a level 3. Level 3 would exceed the limit right now, and if you want to keep your defensive options available, you don't want to burn one on offense. So this might be all that we see for X. Enter burn happening from the Kentucky. Debating on an assist here. Looks like is that clear? That looks... No, that is not clear. That is outsider. That is not Outsider, I'm sorry. That's not clear either. I don't know why I'm blanking on which one this is. She's only got like 3 guys. But you know, that's Umer down. It's Umer down. Umer down is going to get both obviously downed. Well, down the Kentucky. Baphomet's just going to vanish the Bruno. Bradamante burst. Obviously, we have no servants in hand, but seem to be a decent. We seem to be starting to stabilize for Uchu. I don't want to jinx it, but being able to keep DXM out of cards in their hand means they have less options to play. Not to mention the severe lack of enter that seems to exist for DXM as well. Enter charging the Heket off field, growing into Tamago non-stop version. So definitely getting the freeze tactics online. Basically, whenever opponent discards a card, they have to they get Signy Frozen, which is actually kind of disgusting. But Neon Tetra is going to freeze the Kentucky. Royal Blue. That's a card if I've ever seen one. Royal Blue here is going to give once per turn. The once per turn action is going to give the Kentucky has to be vanished unless the opponent pays 2. So, beginning of the attack phase, looks like the Kentucky is just going to end up getting vanished, leaving the Bahamut grow to Deuce Shield. Shield is next 2 instances of damage get prevented, but the opponent has to mill 5 for each of those damages. Now, there isn't a lot of cards left in the X's deck, so this could still basically be a free damage, potentially. When you use the Tamago ability to force a discard, there goes Gullwing. It was a level 3 in hand. And Alexandrite is going to get a draw a card. So now it is a mill 5 at a time. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Looks like just 3 or 4 cards left in 4 cards left in deck. So depending on what happens here, we know there's going to be at least going to be 1 free damage in the form of a refresh point or a refresh penalty, whatever you want to call it, to X. Could be done to themselves, could be done elsewise. realistically actually could be done with the Tamago once per game, since the Tamago is draw 2, both players draw 2, but the opponent has to discard 2, so that is a free damage that can be done with Tamago. I do think the X is going to try to end the game here, just because there is a low enough life cloth, but knowing that the opponent could be playing Madoka Clap, it's hard to commit those resources until you know your opponent has no defensive way. Enter burn happens from the cargo ride. There's the 4th servant. Full knowledge that there are no servants in the Tamago hand. It's actually really unfortunate for him. And I hate to say it, as weird as it sounds, I don't think this is recoverable, but I can be proven wrong. Polaris coming out here. Polaris has a Harmony 2, but when it vanishes at Signy, the opponent mills 10. So this could be free damage as well. Tough decisions here. Trying to see if possible to close out the game in a sense. I believe there's still one card in hand for DXM, but might not be able to play it. Simply because it'd be useless because of Harmony? Oh, it's a servant. Even worse. But anyways, servant play just to get the full field. No point really knowing your opponent is just going to rip the servant out of your hand anyways on the defense. So might as well use it as a body. Madoka break? Okay. Not clap, but break. I know this one's break. It scared me before. So unless the opponent discards 2, can bottom deck... Pay 5, bottom deck 2 things. So... Bottom decking the Servant and the Phalaris is quite the interesting play here. Smart, getting rid of the Phalaris, but did basically just deny the ability to get 1 free damage in off of the Tamago once per game here. Definitely don't want to use the Tamago once per game now, knowing that there's a Servant at the bottom of your opponent's. I mean, technically you could force your opponent to have to play it anyways, but a little bit rough. Little bit rough. Two damage presented on board unless there's a way to clear that last piece of last Signy in the front to get 3 plus Lurig attack. We already know the Lurig attack is going to go unguarded because whatever level 2 Machina can salvage, it cannot grab a card with guard. So you know there's at least 1 free damage. Hopefully there would be 2 more. That'd be fantastic if there was 2 more for the Tamago player, but realistically, I don't think there is a way to effectively get rid of that cargo code ride right now. Intercharging Neon Tetra. Actually thinking about it more, it might be smarter. It would probably be smarter for the once per game to use Tamagos once per game here, just because we know that the bottom 2 cards of their opponent's deck are not red. It's colorless and black. So X once per game isn't going to be able to give them Assassin. We don't know what the top 2 cards are, but we know what the bottom 2 cards are. Columbus, double harmony. That Columbus is consistently 15k right now. Since there's only 1 card left in the Lurig deck, and at the beginning of the attack phase, you can discard 3 cards to vanish something. Now, that does get rid of it. That really does get rid of it, but... We'll just have to see here. Very tight decisions that need to be made right now. So we are going to get the discard 3 to vanish Code Ride. Full board available for the pickings. Do we see... a response from DXM here. So no response at all. So more X happens. Be a pay to vanish a Signy with 8k, if I remember correctly. No, it's just a straight vanish, if I remember correctly. So many cards, trying to remember the abilities sometimes. It happens. But it is a vanish unless they pay 2, so the 2 was paid to keep everything around. X is now at 1 life, or no life cloth. If any of these top 2 cards, actually, yeah, if any of these top 2 cards are red, then we might be... the Tamago might be in trouble. We know none of them are a servant. That is a fact. And are charging 1 away. Interesting here. This last life burst would definitely be needed to save Tamago from the doom. There are multiple things that could happen to help out. Death deck, making the opponent mill 10. Exactly 10 left in the opponent's deck. So there's going to be a mill 10, and the opponent gets to salvage as well. Fortunately, or fortunately, depends on how you want to look at it. Again, depends on how you want to look at it. But the depending on what's grabbed could be quite the issue. Don't think there's anything that could potentially... Actually, no, there's a lie. That is a lie. There exist plenty of ways to be able to save the... So that is a full mill done. Not even 1 card left to try and prevent it out. But we know we don't have to worry about the assassin. There are 2 open lanes on Uchu's field. Kentucky, Harmony cost. Assassin is on the Kentucky. Another Kentucky, and an XX. So that is 3 damage just for the soul to be able to burn enter. Why not? And, well, unfortunately there isn't going to be a life burst to be able to save Mago. So this is a game for X. close game, both of you players. And with that, that will be the end of round 6 for the third summer ceremony. So we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back with the finals. DXM versus... we'll see. Stay tuned.